Hey, it's me, TB, and today I'm bringing to you my first review, I think. So basically it's gonna be a giant clusterfuck. Who knows how this is gonna go? Just hold out hope that it goes well, I guess. Also, no idea how long this is gonna be, so hopefully it's not too long, otherwise fuck me. So this review is be about Wolfsong by TJ Klune, which is the first in his Green Creek series, which, as of book 1, is just following werewolves in this small town in, I think, Oregon. I don't remember. So great start. And just like the romance that happens between this family and the people around them, basically. So we'll go ahead and say that this was a 5-star read for me, probably on my best books of 2021. Whenever that list goes out, I think my favorite thing about this was just like the atmosphere and the characters that we get introduced to, because like the first 30% is like so wholesome and sweet, and like I was already attached to characters by like the 10% mark, so that's pretty impressive, honestly. Like the way that it reads, it feels like so wholesome and like just like a family that you want to be a part of. So like it feels really like sad when like stuff happens later on, because the shit gets fucking crazy. So that the like main focus of this book, basically the friendship and then the romance between Joe Bennett and Ox. And when they first meet, Joe is like 10, I think, and Ox is like 16, which sounds really bad, but they don't get like romantically involved until like they're basically both adults. And up until then, Ox is completely oblivious to like the romance that Joe wants, and like isn't even aware that Joe has a crush on him until like he's like way older. So it's like not as creepy as it sounds, I swear. And also the age gap is like less than the age gap in the Vampire Academy series. So I know it sounds really weird, but literally not as bad as the Vampire Academy series. So there you go. And our main POV is Ox, and he has basically been abandoned by his father, and he's living with his mom, and they kind of like struggle to like make enough money. So eventually he does get a job, and just like even the sense of like family and like community at his job is like so sweet and wholesome. Like dang, I wish my job was like that nice and like just fun to be around, you know, but life's life, you know. Like honestly, the first like 30% is just so sweet and wholesome, and then your heart gets ripped out. And yeah, the worst part is just like how attached these characters you get so fast. It's like you still feel like you're so early on it's gonna be like a good time, but it's not a good time, it's just a sad time. And yeah, I should also say this was a buddy read between me and Therese, who I'll link down below, and she cried, but I didn't. I cry about weird stuff, so like no surprise. I'm pretty sure I almost cried a few times, but I did not have a tear like drop from my eye. So that's our like barometer here. But I did get like really sad and depressed. Like even when I finished the book, I was still like really sad and depressed, because like it's very like, it is a happy ending, of course, because it is a romance, but like there's a struggle to like get there. It's like even by the end, you feel like exhausted because it has been like a journey and a half to get to the end. It's just a lot to deal with, okay? Honestly, it's not like the romance that I like the most in the first like half or so. It's just like the friendship between Ox and Joe, because it's like so sweet and wholesome. Like Joe is like a kid for most of this, so he's like so like innocent, and Ox is kind of just like not the smartest guy around. So he has a tendency to like not get that Joe has a crush on him at all. It's like really sweet to like see them interact, and just like even their friendship is just so sweet and wholesome, and I love it so much. Even like Joe's family, which is kind of like the main werewolf family we get in this book, all like so great and fantastic. I will say that it is really hard to like keep all of the men organized, because there's Joe, his two brothers, Carter and Kelly, and then there's Mark, who is their uncle, and then there's their dad, who I forget his name, which I feel really bad about. I think it's James, but I might be totally fucking wrong. Then there is their mom, who again, I forget her name. Oops, dang. But she's very like cool too. I like them all so much. It just makes this book more painful. Like I already know, given booktube and how y'all cry, y'all tend to cry very easily. Most y'all will probably cry for this book. One of the most interesting things about this book is the plot structure, which sounds very weird, I know, but I won't go into spoilers about why this happens. But Joe has to leave for a period of time, and while he's gone, Ox is kind of like left behind while Joe has to go off on this little like quest thingy. And like it's very interesting to talk about. Me and Therese kind of talked about this, but it's like the reverse hero's journey, where like Joe has this like major quest to go do, while Ox is kind of like left behind to kind of just basically hold down the fort. It's kind of like a weird inversion, where we usually see the hero off on his quest, but instead we see the people that the hero leaves behind and how they're like affected by the idea of like being left behind. So very like interesting to like read about and how like experience that different side to the hero's journey. And, like there is plot stuff, but I do feel like this is more like a character focused novel, because this book's more on like Ox as a character and like how it kind of like grows throughout the book, how it becomes like more trusting of people and stuff. So yeah, another thing I liked about this book is the setting and the atmosphere. Like you really feel like you were in like a small town community, and like everyone knows everyone. Like there's just a sense of like it's like a small town. Even though we don't see like a lot of it, it still feels like there's a town outside of these characters, and they all have like their own like little stuff to do. And as someone that kind of like lives in a small town and was raised in a small town, writing a small town is apparently very hard for people because they never get it right. But I feel like Wolfsong gets it right, and a small town actually feels like your typical small town, you know? And I should also say it because this is kind of like important, but like their families are okay with them, you know, being attracted to men or whatever. It's not like a homophobia isn't like a plot point in this book. So there's that. Honestly, it was just kind of like a soft, happy romance. Well, happy is a strong word. There are a lot of sad points in this, and I do see that the relationship isn't like all, you know, roses. There are some like heavy parts where their relationship isn't as perfect as it could be, but because like they're human characters and they kind of do have to kind of like struggle to this, apologize to each other, kind of like grow together. So yeah, it's very like soft, sweet, and happy. Or at least that's how I felt when it was all over. During it, I was in pain a lot of the time, but afterwards I felt very like satisfied with the overall arc of both them as characters and them as a relationship. As for like trigger warnings for this, or like content warnings, I will say that Joe was tortured prior to the start of the story, and it does get mentioned a lot. It doesn't get into like specifics, but you know that he was like beaten and I think cut a few times. So there is minor description about his torture. It doesn't get like heavy into it, but it does come up. There are like fight scenes between a few characters, and they can get gory. So know that going into it too. Like it isn't just like a very like lighthearted romance, paranormal romance. It's more of like a paranormal romance with like more like heavier topics, I guess, like elements to it, I guess. That's why I liked it, because it's like kind of like a paranormal romance, but a little bit darker than your average one. So yeah, that was great. So yeah, I think that's it. No idea what like else I need to talk about in a review. So yeah, that's my review of Wolfsong by TJ Klune. Hey, this is like me while I'm editing this video, and I just wanted to say a few more things. You know, one, because this video did turn out to be very short, I kind of want it to be like at least a little bit longer. Also, I kind of like forgot a few things I want to mention. So first, this is like an adult paranormal romance because, you know, reasons. And so there are like sex scenes in this. So if you don't like that, there aren't a ton of them, but there are like two that immediately come to mind. They're both very well written, if you ask me. But anyway, I do wish there were more of them, because like there's one thing that I wanted to see, but I did not see that. So that was kind of sucky, but I would take what I can get, you know? And then I also kind of comment on their like friendship between Ox and Joe at the start of the novel. It is like very wholesome when they kind of like shift from the friendship to the romance, because like you can tell like how awkward they both feel, because like this is like their first like relationship really between both of them, and like they can tell there's like more between them than just like your average romance. So it's cute to like see them like struggle and be all awkward and cute with each other. So that's also very like wholesome and sweet and just great. And like there are certain scenes that happen at the start of the novel that like become so important by the end of it, and like so like they have like such an added depth by the end of it, because like stuff that gets revealed later, and it's just great. It really is a great time, you know? Oh, there is like, I'm saying this because I know this is like a trope people don't tend to like, but there is like a third act breakup. It's not really one, but I can see why someone might like think of it like that. I think it was handled very well, because like it wasn't like a full-on breakup as much as it was a problem that came up, because like there were hurt feelings on both sides, and neither one really wanted to like capitulate and like apologize first, basically. And personally, I think that usually that can be done very poorly, but I feel like in this circumstance it makes sense why there would be hurt feelings if you think about it in like a realistic sense. I know usually a more fantastical story wouldn't take that perspective on what happened. Obviously trying to like avoid spoilers, but if you think about it as like as if it happened to you, you really would have those hurt feelings towards what happened. So yeah, there's that. There are actually like scenes where there are like apologies, and you know, stuff happens. So like it does get balanced out by the end of it, and it does feel like there is an actual like realistic conclusion with like apologies to it. So yeah, that's great. Also, so it's so random, but the Bennett family's mother is named Elizabeth, I'm pretty sure. It came to me like right after filming, so here that is. I know that's very like useless information for you now, but I just want to show off, you know? And also, I didn't think about this until like I read reviews of it, but this does have the found family trope, you know, between Ox and the Bennetts, then people that kind of like join into the family circle later. So if you like found families, there's that. Yeah, they're like the like found family here is like very soft and sweet, even though there is like most of it is a like blood related family. It doesn't feel like they are like more close than the people that join later. I feel like they're all like equally close to each other, which I really like. So yeah, there's that. I think that's all I have to say, like add to this. So yeah, I will let myself wrap it up, and yeah. I do want to continue on this series because I liked it that much. I actually bought the physical copies of books 2 and 3 because they were like cheaper on thrift books. And I don't know if you can see them, but they are like right up there. So yeah, that's all from me. I will see you next week. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, subscribe, like, share, all that. So yeah.